Hello everyone, good evening. This is Praneeth from StarAgile. Welcome to the webinar on demo session on DevOps. Today our presenter is Mr. Chaitanya Gajula. He is an international trainer with 20 plus years of experience. He trained more than 5,000 professionals and delivered more than 10,000 hours of training on various tools and technologies, including DevOps. Without any further delay, I'll pass on the proceedings to Mr. Chaitanya. Mr. Chaitanya, you can proceed with the webinar. Thank you.
Hi, Praneeth. Thanks for introduction. So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the session, which is on demo on DevOps. This is Chaitanya. So before we start off, could you please confirm if I'm audible, able to see my screen? Please leave your messages in the chat. Thank you all. So let's start off. So 1 minute, someone is asking question here. Hi, Satish. Yes, any concerns?
No, nothing. Sorry, by mistake, I just say yes. I mean, it's working fine.
No problem.
Okay.
I request everyone to use chat for communication, and we will come back to you as soon as possible. Is it okay? So team, thanks for joining the session once more. So the agenda for today starts about what is DevOps, why DevOps, what skills are required for understanding DevOps and learning DevOps, and what are the various opportunities once you start learning about DevOps. We'll also learn about what type of jobs you can get in once you do your DevOps course and with DevOps knowledge. So since we have lots of participants and not to have in the break in the flow, I'll be talking about all the topics which is there in the slide. You can ask the questions in the chat window. I'll be answering all the questions at the end, and you can also have an option to open up and you can ask me questions at the end of the session. Are you fine with this? Please confirm. Thank you. Let me put a full screen mode. So first is, what is DevOps? So this is myself. So I come with a background of 20 years of IT infrastructure experience, and I have broad knowledge on cloud, virtualization, Docker, Kubernetes, DevOps, data center migration, and other technologies. So first, what is DevOps? So what is DevOps? So DevOps is all about how developers and operations team can work together. Not only development operations team, also other teams like quality team and testing team, all these teams can work together, which could replace the non-human steps. It means that DevOps is going to bring more of automation as well as bring more of a change in the culture between the various teams, how they work. So DevOps doesn't mean to say that after DevOps has come and is replacing Agile. Agile practices are still being used. For example, how you update the code, how you push the code, and all those software development practices are still being used. So DevOps is on top of Agile, which brings more of collaboration as well as automation into various practices. So DevOps is not wherein developers and operations team, they work in silos. You want them to work together. So what does it mean by development and operations team working together? It means that you would like to have a proper coordination, a proper method of communication between them. So for example, let's consider that you have an initial meeting with your customer or with the pre-sales team to understand the application to be released. So you want all the teams, developer, operations, QA, other teams, to understand the exact requirements. And according to each of them, for example, every team wants to give an input about how to create this up or code this application, for example, developer. a tester would like to give us idea about how to test using smoke tests or performance tests. A QA team will also talk about how to decide about how to do a tuning of your applications. And similarly, operations team can give inputs about can we deploy it on a VM or a container, something like this. So this type of information you want to start working together from the start of a project. So once you have the collaboration between them, it is quite easy to make changes. And if any issue occurs, you can have it easily resolved. So Agile and DevOps go in hand in hand talked about, and these specific tasks, which is defined by development team and operations team, you want to understand each of them. So for example, these days, all the companies are moving on to something called as DevOps team. So what do you mean DevOps team? A DevOps team is all about anyone in the team must have a complete idea about what is happening from the start till the end. But he must be specialized in the skills. For example, operations guy, he needs to understand what is Git, what is GitHub, and how does Jenkins work, how does integration work, how does testing work. But he must also be very strong, might be in deployment of VMs or Dockers on containers. That is what is DevOps. DevOps is not just tools what you use. DevOps is all about the culture, how it can work together. And this culture must come from the topmost, might be from the company end itself. So they need to encourage the employees and the teams how they can work together by giving them different types of activities. So why is DevOps required? So you might be asking a question, if we had Agile, why is DevOps required? So after DevOps we're getting practice, companies have seen the time to release the applications to production has been gone down. And you can have faster innovation because lot team works together. Second one is reduce deployment failures. In DevOps, everything works in the backend. For example, you have different cycles in DevOps I'm going to talk about, in which, for example, if I'm creating a code, till the code works fine, it will not go to next stage. So similarly for testing, till you complete that all the tests properly, it cannot go to next stage. If you need to go next stage, again, for example, once you create your code and Jenkins pull the code, it will first do a test of it, build and test. If any errors, again, it goes back to the initial teams. And hence you use the word continuous in DevOps. And it is going to improve collaboration. So let's consider that after customer goes to production and there is any ticket comes in, you know to which team it goes to, and it will not bounce back within the various teams because you are aware of your exact roles and you can help each other. And because of this culture and various tools of automation which is coming like Dockers, Kubernetes, Chef, and Puppet, these tools were existing before, but these days they're using more, correct? For example, Ansible tools you can talk about, and even CloudFormation, Terraform, all these came in after DevOps came into enterprise world. And hence, there is always a need to upgrade your skills from a traditional infrastructure or traditional agile practices. You also want to start moving on to DevOps so that you can work together. So DevOps concepts is all about continuous. It's a continuous development. So what is continuous development? It is about how quickly and effectively you can create your code and do it. For example, you can use various tools like Eclipse tool, Visual Studio, any tools. And for sharing with others, you use tools like Git, SVN. And you again push into your GitHub for central repository. All those is part of your continuous development. We use continuous development because it has to be again tested, everything working properly, code, all those changes. And then once it is done, it can go to continuous testing, wherein you can do a smoke test, for example. Smoke test is all about how is the workflow. For example, if I click a button, does it open the specific page? Is this what the customer requires? So those type of things you can do testing. You have two types of testing, for example, functional testing and non-functional testing. Functional is about how your applications work as for the customer. Non-functional is all about how it would perform when you put in the actual application. So you need to have different tools for that. Continuous integration is all about how can you share your code and how it could be built and tested, like your Jenkins. And deployment, once it is built, you want to start doing a deployment. Deployment means actually deploying onto the servers, might be a physical server, might be onto a VM or to containers. And to ensure that company meets the SLA, you want to have it monitored very regularly, correct? So you have various monitoring tools like Nagios, ELK Stack, CloudWatch inbuilt, all those things. So these are the 5 cycles of DevOps, and each one comes with different tools, different practices. So let us now understand how the life cycle of DevOps work. So the pre-sales team or the product team or sales team, normally they interact with the customer first, understand the business need, and they would given the requirements to the development team. So development team understand what is required, and accordingly they start preparing using the specific code and specific languages for preparing the programs or applications or code specifically using tools like Eclipse, Visual Studio. So many tools are there. You can use this. Once you create your code, how do you share with others? Correct? You might be having a team and you want to have an effective method to share the code and work together. This is where you start using tools like Git, which is your distributed version control systems. So you have Git and you have SVN, which is central, which is quite almost old, or TFS. These are tools being used. And Git is normally for your local, so you can have it locally changes. And again, how do you share it with your team members? You want to go into your GitHub, for example, or Bitbucket. And once this development is done, you can have it built and tested using your Jenkins. So Jenkins is also called as CI and CD. It means continuous integration and continuous delivery. So it will not only use for integration of the code, you can have the entire cycle to be completed using Jenkins pipeline. So pipeline as Jenkins is all about how you can define each and every task of your DevOps, and it could release your application quite easily to various stages of environment as well as to production. So once your Jenkins is done, it goes to a deployment. In case you don't use pipeline, you can also do it manually by using tools like your Docker, Kubernetes, whatever you want, using Chef, Puppet, all this comes here. And once it is deployed, you want to ensure that you have a ensure SLA. You want to start monitoring mechanisms. This is a cycle of DevOps. So it depends on the requirements. For example, this team, can they use Eclipse or Visual? For example, for more of Microsoft based, you might use Visual Studio. Git is normally very much used. I would say that Git is everyone using it these days. So in this, you have tools like Jenkins, TeamCities, lots of other tools you have. Let me show about the various other tools also we can use. So you have lots of tools in the market. I just want to show you this. So you have lots of tools in the market, starting from your GitHub, Jenkins, then lots of testing tools, then deployment talks about Kubernetes, Puppet, Chef, lots of tools are there. So it depends on your requirement what tools you want to use. But predominantly the important tools are your Git, GitHub, Jenkins, then your Selenium, JUnit, Kubernetes, Puppet, Dockers, and Nagios. So other tools, this all depends on the specific use cases. Let me put a full screen. So these are the important tools. So Git, then your build tools are your Selenium, the test tool, sorry, Gradle and Maven. These are your build tools. For integration and testing, you normally use your Jenkins, and for deployment, Ansible, Puppet, Chef, Dockers, Nagios for monitoring. These are the various tools being used in the market. So as I talked about, you have lots of tools in the market using which you can work. Yeah. So I think I can take in some questions in here. Okay. Then we can go internally and talk more. Thank you. So let me see the questions being asked. Yes, what setting you're talking about, Swagata? Yes, team, any questions we have? Okay, we see a difference between a smoke and functional other tests. See, these two are, so you have two types of tests. A smoke test is a part of your functional test. It means that whatever application you created, for example, let's consider that you created a web application and you have lots of buttons in it. And if you click on it, it must open a specific page. This is all your smoke test. Or also checking your code, those are smoke tests will come into. Other type of test is performance test. For example, you want to create an application which is being used by 100 users concurrently, and you do not want that application servers to go down. So in that time, you can do a function performance test wherein you can check how much of load it can withstand, and accordingly you can make the size of the server either big or small based on your test. So this is called as non-functional test. So what tools are we looking on? Didn't get a question. I just talked about the tools like Git, GitHub, Maven, Gradle, Jenkins, Chef, Puppet, Ansible. These are various tools which you're going to learn in the course. The next question by Swagata is technology stack important for selection of tools in DevOps? Yes, it is. So what do you mean technology stack here? You want to add more on this, Swagata? Can we unmute Swagata? Yes, Swagata. Can we unmute Swagata? StarAgile.
1 second.
Yeah. Yes, Swagata, you want to ask the question more clearly?
Yeah, hello Chaitanya. So, like, I'm a
Yes.
developer, like, I'm quite a senior developer, working on basically data analyst as well as artificial intelligence. So, like, we use a lot of new technologies, say like Python, R, as well as like a lot of Microsoft technologies sometimes. So, my question is that, yeah, we are also starting to focus on the DevOps parts. But my question is that how do we select a specific kind of tool? Say suppose for integration, you have mentioned 4 tools like you can use Teams, you can use Dockers or Jenkins also, right?
For integration, you use Jenkins Teams, not Docker. Docker is for deployment.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Jenkins or TeamCity. So
Mm.
how do I select that which will be much more suitable to my product, like my technology stack, and preferable. And this is
Okay.
not for just integration, like all phases.
So this is where you need to look into, for example, every product, for example, Jenkins is completely open source. Okay. Other products, to an extent, they are open source, not completely. So you might want to consider again the support. So first thing, when you want to check whether they're completely open source. Second one is how much of support they have, what type of support they have, and also the cost. And fourth one is some tools are inclined towards Microsoft technologies, correct? So these are considerations you want to think. It also not only from your end, right? When you're working in a company, you also think about people who are working in your team, with which they would like. So you need to take consideration from these four angles. Open source. Second one is the cost if required. How is the support? And how easy to integrate. For example, today you're just thinking about one application, but tomorrow, what about if you want to integrate other application, correct? So these things must be done, and how quickly you can learn what is the niche which is preferred. So it has to come from multiple angles. So these are 5 things which you want to start thinking initially. Am I clear? So you have to make a comparison. Yeah. Thank you. So next question. Let me finish up all the questions being asked and then we can go. So question by Ramini Venkatachalam is difference between DevOps and Agile. So Agile is the software practices. So for example, how you write in a code, then share it, do a smoke test, performance test, and then release cycles, all this part of Agile. But Agile is not much into automation or not much into what you call operations, correct? It's more of a development based. So DevOps has gotten more of operations tools, for example, Docker, Kubernetes, more concentrations giving on, for example, Ansible. And along with that, it has also gotten lots of automation tools, right? Docker, Kubernetes, all these things. And they're talking about how people can work together more. That is the main difference. And these are the main difference between Agile and DevOps. Am I clear? So next question is difference between Jenkins and Bitbucket. A Bitbucket is for central code repository, very similar to your GitHub. Jenkins is going to do a build and test, for example, integration tool. For example, if you commit a code or if a team commits a code to something like your GitHub, it can take the code and do an immediate build of the code to a specific format. And again, if you want to have other tests to be done or pipeline to be done, use Jenkins. So Bitbucket is just only your shared code repository. Jenkins is all about building, testing, and your pipelines. So in your course, you'll also learn about Kubernetes. Yes. Azure is a cloud. Azure is cloud. I'm from manual testing. How will it fit into culture? Yes, so they talked about DevOps, talks about the word talks about development operations, but it talks about all the teams, developers, operations, quality, testing, monitoring team. It includes all of them. So it is for everyone. How much difference will we find between tools like Azure DevOps, AWS, and Jenkins? See, the question is quite, I'm not sure. So Jenkins is a part of your DevOps. So instead of you managing all the things on premises, you can start moving on to cloud services. Like they provide platform as a service. For example, instead of you using GitHub, yes, which is managed by someone else, that is, it is still on their own account. You don't have control on it much. So you can have in these code repositories or your images within your Amazon or Azure, wherein you have complete control on that. You can define who can access it. You can define access control on those. So you might want to look into moving on to cloud DevOps services also. So without DevOps, also we are delivering. No, that is not a use case. It is not getting smooth. After DevOps only it has improved more. Can Git be used for project management? For project management, you want to use Jira. You want to use Jira tools. I'm a Scrum Master and work for a product startup. How will this help me? I don't know coding. Okay, this course is not much into coding. You're not going to write the code from the first. You are just going to write a few lines just for testing the code. Otherwise, this course is not for coding. But you need to have basic knowledge of Java, scripting knowledge, and Linux knowledge. And this also, once you register, will help you to give you prerequisite documents using which you can learn easily. Question by Saroj Gupta, can someone move from project management to DevOps? Yes, you can move. The same skill talked about basics of Java, basics of editor tools, and using scripting tools. Why this .NET to be used? Question is, in short, why DevOps? Yes, that is what they initially announced. Yes, because normally developers and operations team, they always have conflicts, correct? And hence the term DevOps. Azure DevOps is version control tool or continuous. Azure DevOps gives everything, all this five you can do. You can do a development, integration, testing, deployment, and monitoring using various in here. Yes, we are going to cover Git, GitHub. We'll talk about Maven, Jenkins, Chef, Puppet, Ansible, and Nagios. I'm going to talk about the curriculum also, the end. What is difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? Continuous delivery means I can have all these together to be done once. For example, I can create a pipeline and I would say that from write a code, it will complete the code and then go to do a build and then do an integration and then do a deployment and then it will also add for monitoring. All this I can create one single pipeline and do all this task together. That is called as continuous delivery. Continuous deployment means we are talking only about deployment of this. Okay, salaries offers, you need to check in. Okay, we cannot exactly say what is the salary offered. You need to check here the various job sites. I'm working as a PM with no coding and development expertise. Yes, you are welcome to do it because every company these days, they don't require a people management. They always prefer people who are technically sound along with the project management, and hence DevOps is going to help you. Now, see, we are talking about in here. So the tools wise, we're not going much here. Hope you got it correct. So the next questions are about how your skills required. Okay, so technical, what is required, I have talked in here. Are we clear? We do not have any specific demo in here. Our objective was to briefly understand the topics and answer all the questions. Yes. So what is best to be used in DevOps and Agile? So how do I know what practice does DevOps? I think I answered all the questions to an extent. Let me see. Okay, can again come back. So many questions coming in. So it's quite difficult for me to answer. So team, I might have answered many questions. Do you still have any questions on these? So same questions I'm getting here duration. I'm going to talk about all these things. Okay, let me continue my session and then again come back. So these are the various tools which you can use your DevOps. So what skills are required for DevOps? As I talked about, there are no special skills to become a DevOps professional. But the knowledge of scripting is very much required. Linux fundamentals are required. And even if you do not have, but if you have the interest to learn and start doing the course, we'll also share you the prerequisite documents once you register with us. And there are lots of opportunities for DevOps certified professionals. So let us look into what are those opportunities. So one is, let me go from more of a technical, you can become a DevOps architect, for example. So what is a DevOps architect role? It means that if he understands about the DevOps, he can also speak with customer, and if requires, he can prepare the design documents. And he can understand, for example, lots of tools are there in the market. An architect can understand what tools to be used for each project and about the costing and all these things, the DevOps architect role. DevOps manager is about how he can manage a team who is working on DevOps. So you'll be having both people management skills as well as technical manager skills. Automation engineer is more into how you can automate tasks. For example, you're including your Jenkins specifically and your testing tools, wherein you can become automation engineer. Software tester is more into function. Normally you got a functional test who can do a smoke test and sanity test, performance test also. So performance again depends on the company's performance test. Security engineer is more into how he could secure the infrastructure or what type of tools. For example, also comes in DevSecOps. So DevSecOps is all about how DevOps could integrate with the various security tools like WASP and ensure that whatever practice they're using, the codes, everything is again secure, is not again the compliant. Integration specialist is all about how he could work more on Jenkins tool or TeamCity tool. And release manager would be aware about more again project skills required for release manager so that he knows what challenges would come in for each releases and how to ensure that his release timelines on these. Apart from this, still have lots of things you can get for jobs. DevOps is very hot in the market and is very much required these days to upgrade your skills. And as from StarAgile, we provide you the course in which you start from the basics. You also would understand based on various use cases. And with the real-time hands-on experience in which I work many companies, I'll also share my knowledge about what challenges I had when I worked and how to overcome the challenges. So next one is about DevOps job trends. So you can see here from 2011, okay, which were introduced, you can always see a rapid growth of jobs for DevOps. And if you search for DevOps jobs, you will find lots of jobs for DevOps these days. Another one is all the companies, they want to have a DevOps team. The expectation from any profession these days, you need to have everything. So it's not that, for example, if you are very good in servers, they still ask you, do you know what is DevOps? Why DevOps? And do you understand this life cycle of DevOps? If you do not know, it means that you are something you are not out of track. So you need to start learning DevOps. See, DevOps is again, you can either learn on-prem or you can also learn on cloud. So first you need to know on-prem, for example, Git, what is Git, GitHub, Jenkins, all these things. Similar concepts could also be used on AWS DevOps or Google DevOps concepts or Azure DevOps, wherein you integrate with your cloud services. Yes, I'll take in some questions, then I'll go back to the schedule. Okay, any questions? Let me take some. Okay, let me finish the curriculum also so that I can take all the questions at once. Just give me a minute. So this is the web page for DevOps. So we have, you can anytime search for this. And the key features of training includes 36 hours of live virtual training. It happens between 9:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. starting from August 1st in the weekends. And you get in recordings immediately after the same day itself. You get a recording which is downloadable and is lifetime access. And any trainers in StarAgile, they are experienced. I have 20 years experience, and we bring in our knowledge when we teach. You get in lab guides, you get in access to the slides what we have, the real life case studies, and at the end you also do a project in which you have a real use case project. You also have support team using which you can ask any questions and they will be more than happy to answer you as soon as possible. And once you're done the course, then you attended most of the almost all the classes, and you also complete the project, you get a course completion certificate from Agile, so from StarAgile, certificate like this. So we have, let me show about what the curriculum I want to learn. So this is your download course content. Yeah, I think I didn't download. 1 second. So this is your course content. Just give me a minute. So this is your course content. Let me put a read mode. So this training talks about continuous development, continuous testing, integration, deployment using various tools, Git, GitHub, Maven, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Chef, Ansible, Nagios, and various brief about AWS DevOps services. So we'll first start with DevOps essentials, in which you learn about why DevOps, what is DevOps, difference between Agile and DevOps, DevOps lifecycle, DevOps market trends, and DevOps ecosystem. You also learn about basics of virtualization and cloud computing. And you will be using your own free AWS account in which you will create an EC2 instance and you will do all the labs for your service. And apart from that, you will use tools like Eclipse tools and Git tools, other tools also will be using it. So I'll also talk about how to use your free AWS account. Module 2 is about how you can work with your continuous development. We should learn about first, what is version control systems, difference between central and distributed version control system. Then, what is Git, how to install Git, how to work with Git, important commands, and we'll do hands-on on these. So Git installation, branching, merging, stashing, rebasing, reverting, resetting, and all these commands you're going to explore. Then further, we're going to learn about the various build tools. So in which we just have a comparison between the various tools, like what is difference between a Gradle, Ant, and Maven. We are going to learn more on Maven, in which you'll see about how to install Maven, how to work with your pom.xml, in which you can create your build file, using which you can do a project. So for this, we'll again use Eclipse, using which you can do a build. Module 4 is into Docker. So I use Docker here because before Jenkins, because you are also going to use containers and Dockers for your Jenkins pipeline. And for also installing Docker, you also have option is to easily using containers. So first we will briefly talk about what is container, how to manage Dockers. We talk about what and why, difference between Docker architecture and the various components of Docker, how to work with your central repositories like Docker Hub, how to distribute images like what is Docker image, Docker pull, push, how to create repositories, all those will be going to from the basics of containers and use labs. So apart from this, we'll still do more labs. Module 5 is into continuous integration using Jenkins, in which you're going to learn in detail about Jenkins, how to install Jenkins, what is Jenkins, why Jenkins. So Jenkins uses architecture of distributed architecture like master and slave. You also understand about what is master slave architecture, how to manage Jenkins, how to use a build pipeline. So these are the labs which we covered, the labs. And module 6 is your continuous testing, in which we'll talk about why continuous testing, what is continuous testing, what is the life cycle of testing, and different types of unit testing in this. So this is all your functional testing. Selenium and JUnit. So this also will be talking about for this. Then you go on to detail into Docker commands and use cases, in which you will, 1 minute. So we'll also be adding more. So we'll also be adding for your performance testing in this. We'll also add performance testing using Blazemeter for this. Then go more into your Dockers, like how to create own images using Dockerfile, how to work with your multi-container, how to create multi-container Docker Compose, how your Docker networking works, and Docker Swarm is about Docker orchestration. Docker orchestration means how we can manage multiple Docker hosts and doing the labs. Once you're done with this, you'll start learning about Kubernetes. So you understand about difference between what is Swarm and Kubernetes, why you want to go for Kubernetes. Install Kubernetes using kubeadm full version. Then creating pods and deployments, how to work with jobs, replica sets, scheduling, and services. So these are topics you'll be learning in Kubernetes. Using kubeadm, we're not going to use minikube since participants normally they would like to have full version. We're going to install using kubeadm and work. So these are the labs for Kubernetes. And module 9 is into Chef. So Chef, we are just going to talk about architecture and components and these. But we'll be using labs using AWS OpsWorks because Ruby DSL is very old. I don't think much people are using these days. Hence, I'll be talking about how you can use your Chef with AWS servers called OpsWorks, using which you can deploy applications onto multiple instances quite easily. OpsWorks. In module 10, we'll still go learn more about your configuration management using Ansible. So we'll see about how to work with your Ansible, Ansible architecture, Ansible component, how to install and configure Ansible, how to write your playbooks and Ansible modules, and work with using your Galaxy for the rules. Module 11 is into monitoring, into Nagios. So you install Nagios and look into what are the various Nagios objects and notifications, how to configure. These were the concepts. And once we understand about all these things, I'll talk about why do you want to start moving on to cloud services for DevOps. In which I'll talk about why cloud and very brief about AWS. I mean, how it works, about data center in very brief. And then we'll go on to AWS DevOps. It talks about code commit, code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. We'll compare with what you learned before. And we'll end up by learning about how you can create your stacks using CloudFormation and Terraform. This is the course. And let me finish off. This is your, in brief, 36 servers I talked about. This is all about code. The class is going to start. If you want to interested, we just click on to all classes. We have class scheduled from August 1st, in which I'll be the trainer. We also have a training in September, 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. Weekends, 9 session. And if you want to register, request you to contact the numbers. You see numbers in here. If you have any questions, you can call us, and you can also pass on your email ID so that we can contact you. And this is your details of the next batch. It starts from August 1st, 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. Have the trainer. And we have got lots of reviews. So StarAgile is quite a leading education institute in which they also provide you lots of other projects also. So you see that people have given feedbacks to us. So I took a training and we got excellent feedbacks, and still we have lots of feedbacks which you can check it in the website. So what are the important features what we offer? So 36 hours of virtual training, 24/7 support, practical experience. For example, my theory would be only 30%, 70% would be practicals. And we also provide you experience certificate, and we have money back guarantee. You also get in recording sessions, which is lifetime usage. And any question related to this, you can anytime reach Narayana, Praneeth, and all with the email IDs. Okay, you can ask me all the questions now. Okay, since I just want to cover so that many questions what you're asking might have been covered. Okay, so let me go back to where I left. So tools I already talked about. This is all done. This is done. Learning KBL. This here. Can Gateway used. We already have seen this. I'm Scrum Master. He has left. Okay. Can someone move from a project management to DevOps? Yes, you can move. So Sharon already talked about what we are going to cover. This is done. Okay, so let me talk about from here. What is the main purpose Terraform? A Terraform is for creating a stack. For example, if you have these days companies are using multi-cloud. So they would be requiring some components of compute from AWS, some components of networking or some other cloud. If you want to integrate this, you can use Terraform. You can also use only one cloud Terraform, but the main purpose they use Terraform apart from other tools is going to support multi-cloud stack to be deployed. DevOps toolkit will have its own setup as one application. Now, we cannot exactly call it right. It is a different one. I mean, a question is not very relevant. What is best to be used, DevOps or Agile, when you both develop and operations? See, as I talked about, DevOps is more into your culture and your tools. So you need to use both. The answer is you need to use both, then you'll be more effective. So this we have talked about difference between Azure DevOps and this DevOps program. This program is more into on-prem program. We are not going to talk anything related to cloud management services for DevOps. But in the end, we'll end up by talking about for AWS DevOps, how you can work of similar concepts on AWS. How to use cloud in DevOps? So you can use various services like code commit, code deploy, other things which is easy manageable in cloud. Okay, lots of questions, very difficult to answer. Fine. Can we unmute? How do you want to take the questions? I mean, too many questions for me. So can we unmute participant? Let me see. So let me try to answer questions by unmuting. Yes, let me go one by one. So, Sharath? Yes. Yes, what's your question, Sharath?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
you can raise your hands. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your question?
See, I'm a developer, senior Java developer.
Hmm.
Yeah. So how can I move into the DevOps stacks? I already see.
How?
I'm aware of Git, Maven, and from a developer point of perspective. Okay, but
Hmm.
how I can move ahead in the DevOps stack is
Yeah, that's what this training is about.
okay.
You need to start learning the tools. So as I talked about, you need to start learning. For example, you might not have worked on Jenkins. You learn about Jenkins. You learn about,
Mhm.
so you know only to create the code, correct? But you do not know how to share with others and all, correct? So GitHub, all the tools are going to learn. Okay, this is going to help you for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, Rahul.
Hello, hi. Well, I wanted to know how can I use this framework, because right now I'm working in the BI and we are also using RPA for automation. And I believe
Hmm.
this framework is something like it helps a developer and ops team to work hand on hand. And I mean, for us it's a biggest challenge, when any requirement change and following up with the people. So this is where we always struggle. Okay, now what our management is
I'll try.
thinking, like how we can
I'll
use
try.
this, because this
I'll
is what
try.
we are hearing from so many times. So do you feel that for RPA people, or the people who are like working in the business intelligence profile, will this tool
Hmm.
help us?
Okay.
Okay. Would this tool help us? So I'm not very much aware of Cognos. So Cognos is more into your analytics, something of that, right? Which you do it normally with your data warehouse, correct? That
Yeah,
tool is
we
something.
use
Yeah. Mm,
MicroStrategy and Power
mm.
BI and MSBI.
Mm, mm. Okay. See, so to be very specific, not be able to answer you, but I feel that is required. For example, you might be thinking about you write in any code related on this, any code you use, or it's
Uh,
purely
it's
database.
more of database and data modeling, which I mean, most of the time we are doing data modeling, and yeah, we
Huh?
used to write some codes, but not too much, because
Hmm.
it's more of customizing the tools where we spend much of our time.
Okay, I do understand. So very specific, we cannot answer it. But what I feel is you need to know DevOps, which could be used in any type, which is internal. Yes. So you might want to think about how it works exactly on your role. It's very difficult to right away answer how I can interrelate with your Cognos to be very specific. Okay.
All right. So
Thank
you are
you.
saying one should explore this course to understand how best we can use this framework in our role.
Yeah, that is one. Second thing is you might also be looking for career prospects, right? You might not always look for your BI, correct? You might want to also explore new things. And if you want to explore new things, you want to start learning DevOps. So these are two things. Either you want to think from a existing career perspective, or you want to think from a new career perspective. In case you're looking for a career change, for example, you might want to look into this. If you want to think about you are very specific, very difficult to exactly answer how this is going to help with your Cognos. Yeah.
Okay, I'll not take much of your time. Well, that is what the plan is. Since I am from the continuous improvement team, and we are like every time we are exploring new tools and technology that can make our life easier, or our end user life easier. So that is what I will be exploring, and I'm looking forward to explore this. So thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Sure. Thank you. Hi, Chaitanya. Yes. What's your question, please?
I'm not right now. Taking a date.
Sorry, I can't hear you. So team, if you have no questions, could you please Sejal? Yes, Sejal, you have any question? No
Can you hear me,
response.
Chaitanya?
Yes, Sejal, please.
Yeah, so hi Chaitanya, this is Sejal, and I have 11 years of experience in .NET development, and I
Okay.
took a break. I took a break from career from for 2 years. So now I was just checking for the career options. So I have a question like, is there any DevOps tools those are specifically for .NET?
Okay, very specific to .NET, for example, the Microsoft base, you have Microsoft Visual Studio, those things you can use, okay? But unfortunately, that is not part of the training, okay? Very specific we're looking for. But again, you might see Microsoft is not all right? You might also want to think about why don't you start running on Dockers and containers. So it is going to help you on those, but not is not very specific to Microsoft, this one. Yeah.
Okay, but those tools can be used in the project life cycle, right?
Say, for example, you can also use Jenkins for Microsoft. It also supports by using external plugins, but that is not a native like Microsoft Ferix tools, but you can still use any tools with Jenkins because open source. And it is going to help
Okay.
you to learn also. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. And the second question is like I'm looking for a career perspective, right? So you
Mm,
showed 5 to 6 roles for DevOps. So
mm.
I'm thinking like where do I fit in this role by using my experience? Like
So what's
I
what's your
already
what is the skill right now? A developer, correct?
yes.
Okay, so you can so you have software developer also requires DevOps.
Hmm.
So that is not given here, but you also have DevOps software engineer. So this is an example given here. So even a software team, for example, if you're working on Git and GitHub and those kits, so even that is also a role. Yeah.
Hmm.
So even developers also it is there. Yeah. Or you can
Okay.
simple, you can also think about DevOps developer role also.
Okay. So will this certification help me to decide where do I go with my all experience and where do I fit
See,
in DevOps?
okay, we are giving a completion certificate, okay, which is of StarAgile. This lets you know that you have good knowledge on it. Yes, but this is not getting certified from, for example, any specific like a Docker and Kubernetes. But this would give you a confidence to start looking for future career with DevOps. That's what I can say.
Okay. And you said that you will give the hands-on for all the tools
Yes,
included
yes,
in skill.
yes.
So will that be all real time? I mean, can I include that in resume? Like I have worked on this.
In a resume, I'll give you a project, not for every tool. Yes. So you
Okay.
can, so if you can put in a project, nobody is going to ask you for every hands-on. So in the end, as I talked about, you're going to give a project, so which you can talk about because that project would talk about all the concepts what you learned, correct?
Okay.
And that is what you can put in your resume and say that I have done a project which has good knowledge of DevOps, and you can talk about that. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Hi Chaitanya, my name is Smriti, and
Hi Chaitanya.
One second. Sharon, just hold on for a minute. Okay, yes, Manish.
okay, so I have total 13 years of experience as a programmer, and right now I've just completed my course in ML and AI. So I would like to
Okay.
know how this DevOps is going to help me in that because I want to switch my career to ML and AI. So this certificate DevOps knowledge, how it is going to help me in my future?
Okay, for AI professionals. See, for any a role, as I talked about, you need to know what is DevOps, as simple as it. If a developer or architect or whatever role is required, you need to know how this cycle. So, for example, the developer as a AI, you are a developer, correct?
I'm an
So
architect, solution architect. So
Yes. So how will you understand the cycle for even for your AI and this thing? It requires testing to be done, correct? It requires something to deploy. It requires your
Correct.
code to be got somewhere. Yes.
Correct.
So you'll understand that SDLC or software development life cycle is very much required. That is what Jenkins is going to give you. Along with that, you'll also understand automation. So it is very much required for you to uh, understand these concepts so that you can start using these in your company. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Next, Sharath.
Hello.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yes, Darijit.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that how is Azure related to DevOps? And if you're using Azure, does it mean we have to use every tool which you have mentioned for build, deployed, and testing? Or Azure will replace all these tools and Azure alone will be able to handle the full DevOps lifecycle?
Okay. See, the what you're going to learn in here, these are the basics for DevOps. Okay. So, for example, when you go for Azure DevOps, you have in something like GitHub, very similar in Azure. You have something like Jenkins, that is your pipelines you have in Azure. Very similar concepts, but they use different names. Without knowing these basics, you'll not be able to understand in cloud. But the advantage in cloud is when you work on on-prem, when you work on this, the time and effort required to achieve that, it is more and not very efficient. But when you start learning this, I mean, start putting the same concepts in a cloud, it will be much more easier to set up. For example, when you work with Kubernetes on-prem, you need to create your master, your slave, all those things. But when you use the same in Azure, for example, you need not even manage the master. It is managed by Azure. You just manage the worker nodes. So it makes your work easy. So you need to know the basics of this to understand Azure DevOps. Am I clear?
Yeah, so Azure is a tool or it just a practice, just
Azure,
like DevOps, as you said earlier?
Azure is a cloud. Azure is a
Cloud.
cloud. Yes. In that, it means that someone is managing your data center. Yeah. And you can easily create your services. Okay. So next question. Okay. Thank you, Daljit.
Thank you.
Next. Welcome. So again, I'm not sure. Sharad, can we unmute Sharad because he was waiting before? Okay, Sejal. Sejal, not sure, no response. Anil?
Hi.
Yes.
Hey, Chaitanya. So I have a quick question. I'm currently managing a team which is into DevOps. They are using all those tools what you have mentioned, but the team is on is it is entirely AWS and Azure based. There are two different teams. I have done scripting long time back. That is about 10 years ago, and I have hands-on shell. Yeah, I don't remember much of it, but India, I do have little bit of Linux experience as well. I don't remember to what extent I'll be able to answer to the questions if someone puts across, but yeah, this is my background. And since then I have been managing I've managed multiple teams. Now the question is, when you say DevOps manager, all right, so what kind of questions can I anticipate if anyone is asking me, or if I'm getting interviewed?
Understand. So if you're a DevOps manager, you need to interact with both your team as well as the customer and the stakeholders. Are you clear?
That's
So you
right.
need to, yeah, you
That's
need to
right.
first of all understand that you are taking a people responsibility, and any escalations on these things, you need to speak with the customer. That is one. So when you speak the
That's right.
customer, when customer or technical architect speaks to you, you need to understand the flow at least, Git and GitHub and these things. For example,
Yeah.
when you go for a meeting, you all obviously will have SME also with you, correct? So he will help you very technically, but you need to understand what is Git, GitHub, how does the cycle go? After your GitHub, where does it go? And after Jenkins, where does it go? This you need to understand. Or you might be required to know also when to use GitHub or Bitbucket, or when to use Jenkins and TeamCity if you are managing multiple projects for different customers. This is what you are required to know. So on a high level, you are supposed to know the pricing of it, when to use what tools, soft skills for interfacing with the client, and as well as the technical skills. These are required for you to learn. Yeah. But not the complete hands-on.
Got it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so this course is going to tell me what each and every tool is, and what are the intricacies, how we go about managing the tool, and everything is told here?
Yes. So for example, if I talk about Git, I'll talk about first, what is Git? Why Git? Yes. And what benefits the Git gives you. Similarly, when you go to Jenkins, you'll understand about why Jenkins, how to use case of Jenkins, where to use Jenkins. Similar for every tool you're going to do it. So you first understand that product, why the product, what is the product, where to use this product. Then you will do a hands-on. And also, you can ask me questions about costing also. I can answer your questions. Yes, this is how it works.
Last question. When we say hands-on, do we do scripting as well? A little bit of that.
Scripting we were doing in very brief scripting. No exactly scripting. So we're not going to scripting very specific. No.
All right. Thank you. So should we be doing AWS first and this later, or it can be done anyways?
See, AWS will be the last, okay? Because you're just going to use only EC2 instance, just like a VM. You just open it and do it, nothing else. But once you understand the concepts, then you look into how I can make my DevOps cycle to be easily managed compared to on-prem on a cloud. So that is what you're going to learn AWS DevOps, so that you completely understand.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's pretty much.
Welcome. Yes, Milind.
Hello.
Yes, Milind.
Hi, my name is Milind. I work in SAP. I manage SAP programs. Will it be applicable for ERP teams? This DevOps.
So ERP is more into a CRM, correct?
SAP. I mean, for SAP ERP work.
Okay. See, what's
So
the role? Depends on the role. What's your role?
My role is engagement manager. I handle account over here, but I am a hands-on experience from last 20 years in SAP SD, sales and distribution, CRM, customer services, and then gradually I engage with other migration, integration, etc. But all in all, when we have end-to-end different methodology for SAP or any ERP implementation, is it going to be applicable in the future, this DevOps model? Because unlike any software or ERP, SAP is also having a support team as well as a release team as well as a CR team or a project team or greenfield implementation teams. So is it going to help DevOps in this case?
I cannot exactly. So it again depends. For example, see, my answer would be that what makes you think it's not going to help you? See, for example, you know the product very much more than, right? Why do you think it does not help you? So for example, you might want to think about how can I manage my application in a better manner, correct? How can I manage my testing in a better manner? How can I have my applications in a better, like a containers, correct? SAP supports containers. I mean, are you aware or no? Just asking you. Do you
No,
work?
I'm not aware of containers and no.
So see, I would say that it will be useful for you too, because I talked about every company these days are moving on to DevOps. In one way or another, you're going to use this in your environment. And you told it technically, right? So I'm sure that you can use your skills and enhance your skills much further. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Thank you, Milan.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, guys, I'm not sure how to go because lots is the order. How do we get the order? So, yes, Deepti. Milan,
Yeah,
yes, Deepti.
yeah. I work as an application consultant, so it's like managing complete implementation cycle, right from requirements management till release management. So you mentioned that it will be like a hands-on course, but
Yes, 70%.
but then you also mentioned that there'll be no scripting. But as I know, in this Docker and Ansible, all this involves a lot of scripting. So what level of hands-on?
Say scripting means you are not going to write around 10 or 15 lines, correct? For example, you're not going to write in a Python script in this, for example, telling you. So for example, you write in your unit shell scripting, a few lines, but you're not going to write in a complete Python script they're talking about. You write in unit shell script, for example, when you want to work with your Docker file, you write in a few lines for building your images, correct? And you would write in some few lines for your echo command environment variables when you work with Jenkins. But we are not going and very specifically look into Python shell scripting, where you're going to execute a Python, other things we're not going to do. That's what I'm talking about here.
Okay, and one more thing, this certification, like this course will be useful for any like further certification from DevOps Institute, or how would it work?
So this certificate would come from StarAgile, okay?
Okay.
Not from others. So you need to know, for example, I talked about shell script. You need to know knowledge on shell scripting, but you're not going to write in. For example, you'll see some files in which they return some shell script, but you need not completely write it. That's what I was talking about. And this certificate is going to come from StarAgile, yeah, not from outside DevOps or something like this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Prashant. So let me go down. I think let me take a change here. So Vishal, let me go down from down. Vishal, can we please unmute Vishal? Sure. Okay. Yes, Prashant, no issues. Please proceed.
Yeah, it's on the previous question only. Very strict check is because you said that StarAgile give the certificate. So just comparing for PMP certification, if we do, we have a PMP body which is worldwide recognized. Or if I do a Scrum certification, which I have done with StarAgile earlier. So, but we give the exam and we get the certificate from Scrum Alliance as well, which is a body. So for this DevOps, is there any body which manages that, or it's just the individual institutions which runs the courses and give the certificate?
So for example, in future, as of now, you can only take it from here. But in case you're looking for a DevOps certificate, for example, you have DevOpsSkillAssociation.org, in which you can take in exams of professional as well as your fundamentals. With this knowledge, you can also learn more on agile concepts and you can get a certificate. But we do not get any specific from DevOps. We say that we are an eligible vendor for DevOps training, but we don't have accreditation for DevOps. Yeah.
Okay, but this course will I'll be able to, I mean, will it make me at least to the knowledge where I can give fundamentals, or with little bit of more practice, one of those which you just now showed on the screen?
Yes, for that you need to have a basics of agile also. Instead of that, if you can use the concepts of this on AWS or Azure when you learn, you have a certification like Azure DevOps certification, correct? AWS DevOps certification. You can take in those. You can take in those with the knowledge of this and with additional.
Okay.
Either on this or you can go for DASA. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me go from down. Next one, Vishal. or Venkatesh, anyone? Yes, can we unmute someone? StarAgile, please help me to unmute someone.
Please good name. I didn't get it. Someone.
I'm Venkat here.
Yeah, hi Venkatesh.
Hi. See, actually, it was a good one. The thing is, I'm a pure operations guy for around 18 years of experience with trade operations. So, what way this DevOps is going to help me to develop in my career?
So, what do you mean by trade operation? I mean, trade means you mean to say business? Is that?
It's about handling the import-export documents.
Okay, what is the objective of this training? Are you trying to switch your career or in your own? It depends also on your what you're thinking of, right?
No. It's about like just something related to operations, but I want to move into a IT career also because
That's
it's been.
Understood. You are looking for a change in career, as simple as.
Yeah, right.
Then you want to go ahead. Then you want to go ahead for sure because these are the skills people ask for. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome. Next, Vasant Kumar. Or who else is unmuted? You can go on mute. Vasant Kumar. Or Sandeep. Yes,
Chaitanya.
Yes, Vasant Kumar. Yes, please proceed.
So I'm from testing background. So I have a decent knowledge on Java as well. So I'm just like uncertain, like how this DevOps will work for me. Like what kind of role I can work on. Like, so I'm a little bit uncertain actually because I'm from mostly into the manual testing background.
So you immediately say software testing or is it performance test?
Yeah.
Functional or non-functional?
Functional. I'm from functional testing.
Yes. Yeah, it is required, we talked about, because tomorrow, I mean, very soon, all the companies are. So you must also know, right? In your company, there must be a DevOps team, correct? So DevOps team is wherein they have knowledge of all of them. So you need to start learning. I would say that you need to start learning for sure. Because you cannot just be one thing. Because for testers, for example, we have only one domain, correct? So just think that if every company wants a tester, you do not have so many jobs for testing, correct? Do I agree? Do you all agree? There's not so many you have for testing. So they would obviously look for multi-skills. Can you also help in something else? And this is going to help you wherein you can have a multi-skill environment. Okay?
Like in the sense, like in the operations and all those stuff, right?
Yes, or you can be more into functional. For example, if you're functional, you'll be more inclined towards your developer tools, correct? And these things. So you might want to be strong in these. Getting this?
Okay.
You might want to be strong in this, not in this. You might want to learn, but you want to get specialized in this because your functional means you'll be seeing more of a code every time, correct? Code, programming, and those things. So you want to get specialized in this, but you want to understand also the complete knowledge, but you want to concentrate more on these once you finish your course for your career.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, Sandeep. Prakash. Hi, Prakash.
Yeah, hi Chaitanya. I have a 15 plus years of experience. I have worked on management side and I did a Prince 2 CSM from CSM from StarAgile. Okay, so usually I'm working on switch side, switch mediation. I think you heard about that, right? So some product companies are having their own products. Like Ericsson is having a EMM, Ericsson Multimediation. Intech is having Intech Intermediation. So in those products, it's very difficult to implement the DevOps. So I'm a bit confused how we can go ahead and implement the same thing in those areas. So
now, what
I'm
is
not
the
sure.
role? What is the role?
My role is architect now.
Okay.
Previously, I have worked on management side also. So I'm taking care of 10 to 15 people.
So what type of servers do you use? Physical or virtual?
Physical only. Usage. You heard about the CDRs, right? When we call the call to the A number to B number, in the switch we are going to receive the CDRs. Okay. So we will do the mediation and send it to the different downstream system. Like a billing system is there, fraud management is there, revenue assurance is there. So different systems are there. But how we can implement DevOps in those areas is getting difficulty. So is it going to be helpful when I'm going to join this training?
Okay. See, are you looking for the present role or for future role? Okay, just want to understand because you told that your technology is outdated, correct? Are you looking
Yeah.
also to change your role? If you're looking for changing a role, you want to grab this opportunity. But on the existing one, you might want to think from operations perspective. So exactly, I don't see any very specific scope for your existing role. But in case you're looking for change in a career, then you want to grab this opportunity.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. So wasn't that Deepti Deshpande? Did you answer the question? I'm not sure. Did you speak?
Yes.
Okay. So can you lower your hands? Okay. Who else? Vishal, Paljit. We're getting so many. Yes. Can we unmute anyone else? Yes, Baljit. So team, I want to inform you that since we have so many people, I'm not sure who I'm unmuting anything, but I'm trying to answer all the questions. And your question, what you asked in the chat or what you're going to ask would be answered by others because we also have time limit. We have so many participants. Hope you're clear. Hi, Baljit. What's your question?
Hi, Chaitanya. Good morning. Sorry. Good evening for you guys.
Okay, no problem.
I'm more into the infrastructure and handling the projects for the infrastructure implementations and consulting, right? So just thinking about like most of the companies are moving towards the DevOps, but however, to my profile, it is like just a good to know kind of, because we are not at all dealing with the software development. Is my thinking correct? Like, I just want to ask you on that.
So, could you please repeat which company you work for?
I worked for GE for very long, but I'm now doing the as a consultant. I am hired for the hardware implementations and.
So you are more into mechanical base because GE is in mechanical aerospace Mathilam, right? Is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
See. So I think you want to concentrate on operations side, correct? I don't think you're going to development side. From operations side, you want to start looking into DevOps. From operations side, that's what I would say. So for example, Tim.
In my profile, like I do not personally deal with the software development, and however we deal with the hardware implementations and all that, and do the software rollouts for standard rollouts, right? But that is not at all on the development side of it.
That's what I'm talking about. You might want to have a complete knowledge, but you might want to think about this. And I'm not sure, you might be also leading a team of people. You also lead anyone or a complete individual role?
As a project and solution architect.
Okay. So for example, when you go to a meeting, would you understand the technical terms? Because everyone uses the words Dockers, containers, and these things, correct? I'm talking about when it's advanced operations. So you need to at least understand.
Yeah, to an extent, yes, because we are dealing in and out with the people around us, right?
Okay, so you're still thinking about whether this helps you or not. Yes. So my answer would be yes, because we are talking only very important tools. And for example, all the tools like Git, GitHub, Jenkins, I think this is going to help you. But still, I would you want to look into and decide. It's your call. But I would think that it requires for you also to start learning for this course. Yeah, thank you. Hi, Sandhya. Sandhya or Sandeep, Shaktivel, anyone can speak. Sandeep, anyone?
Hello?
Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about this course, but will it help me? I'm looking for a project manager role, so will it help me to fetch a job if I do this training?
Yeah, it's not doing the training. For example, you must also be knowledge after the training, correct? So doing this training will surely help you, because I'm talking about doing this training would surely help you to learn various tools. But the project man I'm talking about, this is not into people management. I'm clear. For example, there are tools like Jira tool, wherein you can manage projects. This is more into a technical based roles. So depends on what is the project management role applying for. If it requires technical skills, this is going to help you. But if you're pure management, people management, project management, this is not the right course. Am I clear?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Hi, Shaktivel, or I mean, who is unmuted? Yes, Shaktivel, we have 2 more minutes, team. I think we need to wrap up. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not getting any questions. Okay, Shaktivel, can we unmute Shaktivel, please? You want to ask a question? I don't have control to unmute. Can we unmute Shaktivel?
We cannot see Shaktivel in the list actually, Chaitanya.
It is there now. Is there now?
We cannot see him in the list.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So anyone else? I think we can take in a minute. Yes. Who is this?
Yeah, this is Shakti here. Just now he unmuted me. Yeah, just now I'm able to speak.
No problem. Please proceed.
Yeah. Like, because this is related to, if you talk about the technical stuff, like I'm not into technical side. So the coding or scripting or something, if you cover the course from base to, like from the base, it will be from the base, or it will be like I need to, there is a prerequisite, like I need to know certain things, certain coding language or whatever, because basically I'm from business analyst, that side. Like my role is senior BA.
Okay, but do you know at least what is a server, how to do RDP?
Yeah, because I'm in IT. Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're looking. We're looking for wherein you know at least what is a server, what is RDP, and these concepts. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking wherein you need to have a complete skill on programming, but you also need to have an interest to learn new things. That's what we're looking for. Yes, because this is more into technical. So it is more technical words you're going to listen, but you will be starting from the basics. So they talked about, even if you do not know the basics like Linux and shell scripting, we are going to share you the prerequisites. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. Okay, team. I think we'll close the session here. Sandeep. Sorry, I don't have control. Sandeep, can you unmute Sandeep Sengupta?
Hello.
Hi, Sandeep.
Hello. Hey, hi. At last I got a chance. I was waiting for long. I mean, constantly muted. So, yeah. So I just need a minute. So, question is like, I'm into program management. Yeah, I'm into program management for last 7 years, 8 years right now. And before that, prior to that, 7 years I was into Java J2E coding stuff. So I have two questions. Is like, will this? Will I be able to understand this course? Because it's what I found is it should be like purely technical. It seems first, and will I be able to understand and complete this course based on my background? Next is like, will it be helpful in my career?
So you told you're a Java developer, correct?
I was a Java developer long back. Yeah, I mean.
Right now?
Right now I'm into program management, project management.
Okay. So you know the terms, right? What is the code? All this you know, right? I think that you're knowing these terms, correct? And what is the objective for? I mean, you must be having something in your mind. What do you want to move into? Are you still want to move into? You want to be into the project management?
Yeah. Actually, what I'm trying to move into a technical project manager, basically. So
yeah, then you need to know. So without this, then you cannot move, right? You need to understand, and we are going to start from basics. But again, basics means, as I talked about, need to know at least what are these servers and those things, and the passion to learn new things. Then it helps you. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Welcome. Okay. So thanks a lot for joining the session. If you still have any questions, you can contact the team, the website, or you can also contact these specific contact people, Narayana and Prani. The numbers are given. You have email IDs. So thanks a lot once more for joining the session. Bye for now.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Thanks for your time.
Welcome, Praneeth.